Yeah, so welcome back. After the lunch break, we were having some technical difficulties with one of our panel members, and that's why it took slightly longer for us to come back. So we have now a panel discussion on regulatory challenges of complex generics and combination products and how to deal with that. And presently you see on the screen two of our panel members. Neelu Goel, Associate Director, Regulatory Affairs and Compliance at Emcure, India, and Marjan Dzeparoski, Regulatory Affairs and Pharmacovigilance Manager at Bionika Pharmaceuticals, Macedonia. It's my pleasure to first introduce Neelu, who is an experienced leader in regulatory affairs in pharma organization for regulated markets. Currently, as I mentioned, Associate Director with Emcure Pharma in India. And Marjan is experienced Head of Regulatory Affairs in pharmaceuticals industry, skilled in research and development, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, validation and GMP. He is currently leading regulatory affairs and pharmacovigilance in Bionika Pharmaceuticals, pharma manufacturing company out of North Macedonia. And very shortly, I think one of our third panel members, Pallavi Trivedi, Head of Regulatory Affairs, Warwick Healthcare, United Kingdom, will join. So I'll quickly introduce her as well. Pallavi is Senior Regulatory Affairs Professional who has versatile experience spanning over more than a decade in broad range of biosimilars, biopharma, biotech, and biopharma and biotech companies, including pharma giants, mid-sized multinationals, and startups in UK and India. She is an expert in leading regulatory strategy and product development. So yeah, so I also request all the all the participants also to send their questions, like always, in the chat box, and I'll be very happy to take them up. And so let's start. So I think the first interesting topic here in the panel discussion: what are the specific EU-MDR challenges for combination products and how to deal with them? I know this is a very broad question, perhaps, but maybe we start the discussion on this. So can I request Neelu, you first to start, and then Marjan, you can chip in.
Actually, we agreed with Neelu that I will
so I was not aware. So sorry about that. So
I think this is a Marjan question.
Okay, so start, Marjan.
This is the Marjan question,
Apologies.
Okay. Yeah. So the complex generics, as by definition, are complex, and their complexity can be influenced by the complex active pharmaceutical ingredient, like, for example, low molecular weight heparins, or by the special pharmaceutical form, long-acting, or by the manufacturing process, like, for example, liposomes, nanocapsules, the route of administration, for example, the transdermal route. And we can also have complex generics comprising of drug and medical device combinations. So this will be the one example for which I will.
What's the issue?
So Neelu, can you put your line on mute? Neelu, can you put your line on mute here?
Just write a mail back to Martin, no? He will help you out.
So if we speak about...
just write a mail back again that I'm not...
Once again, Neelu, can you put your line on mute while you're talking outside the... Yeah, Martin.
Yeah. So I will mainly concentrate on the drug device combination.
Yeah.
And here we have three situations, three examples. One will be the where the combination is single integral, not reusable, exclusive combination, and in all these cases, the primary action is of the medicinal products, so it's considered as a medicinal product.
Mhm.
And there are two other cases where this is non-integral medical device. And here we have two examples. One is that we have co-packaged kit or combination, which comprise, they are separate, they are not integral. And the third situation is when we have cross-labeled combination product. This is the situation where the medicinal product and the medical device are obtained separately. So, as we all knew that starting, it was postponed, it was supposed that the new EU-MDR medical device regulation will be active from 26th of May 2020, but it was postponed to 26th of May 2021. So what are the challenges for these combinations? We have, for example, with the single integral, not reusable exclusive combinations, we have challenge with the article 117. And just for the audience, in this group are, for example, the prefilled syringes, prefilled pens, auto-injectors, prefilled inhalers, nebulizers, patches for transdermal use. And here we have a situation that starting from 26th of May, there must be involvement of the notified body, which will certify about the conformity of the medical device. So there must be conformity assessment of the medical device or the notified body certificate, or if there is no the first or the second document available, then the notified body should make available or write an opinion on the conformity of the medical device. So the situation here is that if the manufacturer who will apply for marketing authorization will apply for this until 26th of May this year, they can go according to the old regulation. But starting from the 26th of May, they must go according to the new regulations, which is inclusion or involvement of the notified body. And also what is interesting for this type of combination, that here, when we have integral package, for example, unique device identifier is not needed. You don't need CE mark, and you don't need special data, for example, about the manufacturer of the medical device, which you need, for example, in the other two combinations. Concerning the non-integral combinations, there are challenges with Article 16. Here we have example that obligation of manufacturers should also apply to the importers and distributors or other persons. So everyone who distributes the device under its trade name, trademark, should appear on the labeling. And for these two cases, the device must be CE marked, and this should be, of course, available on the labeling. I would like just to say here that translation of information of repackaging is not considered a change, but if we have change and the change is substantial, for example, which is considered that it will affect the performance or the safety characteristics of the device, then there must be submitted variation for the device So the marketing authorization holder of this combination must do that. And of course, here again, if it's done through 26th of May, also involvement of the notified body should be involved. The third challenge with the cross-labeled products, and here I would like to explain to the audience what are the cross-label products. Here is that some parts of in the SMPC and the patient information leaflet should be explained and written in the labeling how to use it, because they must be used together. They are not packaged together, but they must use together. For one example of this combination, for example, is insulin and the pens for use of the insulins. The challenge with the Article 22 is with the systems and procedure packs, because here we can have situation of combination of the device together with other devices or with the IVD. So it is the manufacturer responsibility who is combining the systems and procedure packs. So in this second and third case, the manufacturer of the combination of the medicinal product is purchasing the medical device from the manufacturer, and it is his obligation to pack the both together, which will make either co-packaged or cross-labeled combination product. So these are the challenges which the manufacturer of combination product, drug and medical device, will have to deal with them. And I would like at the end just to say that the postponement of implementation of the new EU-MDR directive is because of the lack of capacity for the national competent authorities, or because we are still lacking a greater number of notified bodies, and of course because of the COVID situation.
Okay. Thank you, Martin. So, Neelu, perhaps we can take a question which you have decided to address maybe first before I come to the questions from the chat box. You are on mute, Neelu. Yeah.
I think the complex generics, we did not, the differences across the regions, the regulatory differences across the regions.
Okay.
I'm not on mute.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you well.
Okay. Can you hear me on?
Yes, we can hear you.
There's a time lag somehow.
So you just start and continue speaking. I think we can all hear you.
So yeah, on the complex generics, as the dictionary word of the complex itself means that is okay. So the word complex in the dictionary itself means something not easy to deal with or understand. And same is true for the complex generics. It is understanding of this molecules is still evolving with the regulatory authorities. They consist of complex APIs, complex formulations, complex dosage forms. Then another, the major difference across the regulatory authorities is the difference in the submissions. Like in the US, the word complex generics is well recognized, and the filing pathway is the ANDA, which is the 505J pathway. Whereas in the Europe and Canada, I don't know, my voice is echoing. I don't know why. There is no term as complex generics. They are called as non-biological complex drugs, and the generic versions are called as follow-on. So they are filed under general Article 10.1 or Article.
I think Neelu, you are having difficulty because the voice is echoing. So maybe you try to put off. We like Ritu has just mentioned in chat box, we can hear you well. If you can reduce the volume of your speaker, which you are hearing, and continue to speak, I think it should work for the time being. Now it seems Neelu's picture is frozen. So let's do one. Yeah, she's back. Can you hear us? Hear me, Neelu? Okay.
Okay. I'll do that. Yeah. So the filing mechanism is mostly in the Europe is the nationalized procedures, which leads, yeah. Yeah. So I was there with the filing mechanism. So Europe, they use the national. Yeah, I can hear you now. So I was saying there's a difference, a lot of difference across the regulatory authorities in the filing mechanism of the complex generics. Then the major challenge with the complex generics is, like in the other case of generics, you have to prove a therapeutic equivalence. It's my own voice echoes after a while. I don't know why, Samir. So I'll keep speaking.
Okay, so I think there is some problem in audio at your end, Neelu. So I would suggest that we take a question while you try to fix that. I will go with a question to Marjan, and in the meanwhile, hopefully your line get fixed. So Marjan, one of the questions which I saw in the chat box was, what is the impact of EU-MDR on generic combination products? I think you very clearly covered that with auto-injectors and other examples which you gave. And a related question from, not exactly related, but another question from Michael Urban is, have you succeeded in past only with phase 1 studies? For example, BES DDI study for substitution indication in fixed dose combination products, in case there was a limited clinical evidence on the use of those APIs together in literature. So any comment on that?
Can you repeat the question, because I have not heard you well?
Okay, so the question is about what is your viewpoint about success with phase 1 studies for substitution indication in fixed dose combination products?
I am not expert. We are not doing the phase 1 study.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I cannot answer the question. I don't know whether Neelu has heard us to answer to this question.
Okay, so I think there are no other questions in the chat box. Maybe Marjan, we can move to the next topic, which you would like to address, or this was the only topic you were planning to address today?
So this was my topic, and we agreed that Neelu and Pallavi will also have their contribution. I don't know whether Neelu, are you now? Do you hear you us now well or not?
So we have about 6 minutes left for the panel. Neelu, is your line improved now? Can you try and speak something and see how it goes? Yeah.
Not probably. Then I can tell something more about the complex generics, if you like. Yeah. So the complex generics are really complex, and they are difficult that you can achieve successful bioequivalence studies.
Yeah.
All what is needed. So
yeah, I can speak, I guess.
okay, please go on. Yeah.
So the major challenges between the
Neelu, we were able to hear you. Continue, please.
yeah. So yeah, the another challenge is with the in the proving the sameness of the complex generics, wherein there's a lot of physical characterization is needed, not only qualitative and the quantitative similarity. You also have to do a physicochemical characterization. There's a challenge in doing the bioequivalence study because a simple bioequivalence study doesn't apply in the case of complex generics. It's mainly the clinical endpoint you have to go for. Yeah. And then I wanted to say is like FDA has made a lot of incentives as a part of CADUFA too. And US is taking initiatives in terms of making product-specific guidances. More research is coming, and they have also launched the pre-ANDA program, wherein the sponsors of which are developing the complex generics can meet US FDA and discuss the product development plan, pre-NDA submission, and even have a mid-review cycle meeting. This to facilitate the review of and the development of the complex generics. And with the Europe, you can have scientific discussion with the authorities they allow. But in the other parts of the world, this understanding is still evolving and it's going on. So the challenges remain towards the harmonization of the guidelines. And there are cases when US has asked for a different, Europe has asked for a different studies as compared to US, so it becomes cumbersome for the industry to develop the molecules and do the studies repeatedly and additional studies in the different regions. So I had an example of a complex API, which is glatiramer acetate, which is a heterogeneous mixture of polypeptides. In US, this molecule got approved as a generic by proving the API sameness, though it took 7 years for FDA to grant the first generic approval. But in the case of Europe, Europe rejected mainly on the basis of API sameness. They asked for additional non-clinical and the clinical comparative studies. So that difference is there between the regulatory authorities. It is still not harmonized.
Okay, so I think thank you, Neelu. That was interesting summary of the situation. I know you were also quite disappointed. You are also quite disappointed because you couldn't speak much because of the challenge with the line, and we were all looking forward to hearing your thoughts also. So perhaps we have to get that opportunity some other time because we are now coming to the end of the time today.
Okay.
So we will, and hopefully this will also solve the problem of the time lag which is happening in this connection. So we close this session now, and then we start the next session in 1 minute from now, and then hopefully this problem will be fixed. But thank you, Marjan, and thank you for Neelu. And unfortunately, it did not work out that well, but we could still hear some interesting thoughts. And apologies, I couldn't take any questions in this session. So, okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.